In the somber quiet of a funeral chapel, Eliza Graves had never felt more humiliated. Her daughter-in-law, Chloe, stood up and spat words that struck like a slap in the face. "Seriously? You show up at your own husband's funeral in that cheap dress? You look like a beggar." All eyes in the room turned toward her. Eliza, who had chosen a simple, elegant black dress for the occasion, suddenly found herself the target of a merciless attack. What Chloe didn't know, however, was that the dress she derided had actually cost Eliza over $100,000. "Chloe, please," Eliza's son, Ryan, pleaded in a strained whisper, but Chloe was already on a roll. Surrounded by her friends, who nodded approvingly, Eliza could feel her blood simmering, but she held her ground. "Just look at her," Chloe sneered, loud enough for the whole room to hear. "Your mother has zero class, Ryan. If she had any taste, she would have dressed properly for her own husband's funeral." But this wasn't about fashion. This was a power play. Chloe, who worked at one of the city's most exclusive boutiques, kept digging. "I think it's time someone told her the truth. She looks like she's about to go grocery shopping, not bury her husband." Eliza's mind spun. If only Chloe knew. This woman, this self-proclaimed fashion expert, was oblivious to the fact that Eliza was the real owner of the very boutique she worked at. That Eliza's business empire was worth millions. With hundreds of employees and Chloe, at the bottom of the corporate ladder, was merely a pawn in Eliza's carefully constructed world. "Chloe," Eliza said, her voice calm yet sharp, "you seem to think you know a lot about fashion, but you don't know anything about me. This dress, this clearance rack special, cost more than your monthly salary." She watched Chloe's eyes widen as she realized the gravity of her mistake. But Chloe wasn't done. "Poor Elias," she continued with a smirk. "I'm sure he's rolling in his grave, seeing his wife dressed like that. What an embarrassment to the family." Eliza wanted to scream, but she remained still. The audacity of this woman, using her grief to degrade her, was unfathomable. The woman who mocked her every word, calling her basic and classless, was working in the very company Eliza built from the ground up. Later that evening, when the funeral ended, Eliza returned to her modest apartment, a facade she had carefully maintained for years. The world thought she was just an old widow with little more than a few savings. But her truth was different. Beneath the surface, Eliza was a business mogul, the owner of multiple high-end boutiques and factories, with a fortune far beyond anything Chloe could ever dream of. As she sipped on a glass of rare Bordeaux, Eliza smiled. Chloe's cruelty hadn't broken her. It had only awakened the desire for revenge. She picked up her phone and made a call to her trusted assistant. "Natalie, I need you to gather everything on Chloe's performance," Eliza instructed, her fingers tracing the rim of the glass. "Anything about her attitude, tardiness, complaints, everything. I want a full dossier by morning." The next day, the investigation revealed everything. Chloe had been late multiple times, shown blatant disrespect to clients, and even ignored top-tier customers based on their appearance. But it didn't end there. There was also evidence of her financial struggles, her inflated lifestyle built on lies. Eliza wasn't just going to fire Chloe. No, this was personal. Chloe had attacked her on one of the worst days of her life, and now Eliza would make sure Chloe would never work in the fashion industry again. Eliza arranged for a meeting at the boutique. Chloe was completely unaware that she was about to walk into her professional demise. "Chloe," Eliza said, standing tall in front of her, "I need you to explain yourself." Chloe looked at her, confused and defensive. "What's this about?" "I've been trying to help you with your image," she said with a dismissive laugh, unaware that her own career was crumbling beneath her. "I think you need to know something." "Chloe," Eliza began, watching as realization hit. I'm not the helpless widow you thought I was. I own this company. I have for years. Chloe's face drained of color as Eliza continued. And the lies you've told, the disrespect you've shown to our clients, the way you humiliated me. It's all documented. Chloe sputtered. You're lying. You can't fire me. I've worked here for years. Not anymore, Eliza replied coldly. You're fired. Effective immediately. And don't bother asking for a second chance. Your behavior isn't just unprofessional, it's unforgivable. As security escorted Chloe out of the building, Eliza's heart did not swell with satisfaction. It was not about revenge. It was about teaching a lesson that would last a lifetime. Ryan was the next person she had to face. Her son, still married to Chloe, had no idea about his wife's true character or the family's wealth. When Eliza finally revealed the truth to him, he was torn shocked at his wife's betrayal, but devastated that he had not defended his mother when she needed him most, or Eliza had done her part. Now it was Ryan's turn to face his own decisions. As the months passed, Eliza watched as Ryan, humbled by the truth, took his place in the business, working his way from the bottom up, just as she had wanted. And Chloe? She struggled to rebuild her life. But the lesson was clear. Actions have consequences, and respect cannot be bought. In the end, Eliza's revenge wasn't about ruining Chloe's career. It was about restoring her own dignity and teaching the world that true elegance was never about appearances. It was about integrity, respect, and standing tall in the face of cruelty.